We hear a lot about coronavirus here in the UK. But what about in Africa? Fortunately, there's been very little incidence of coronavirus, apart from a few hotspot countries. But the impact of the lockdown, which started in March, has been huge. People are living on the daily wage, unable to get food, so maybe they're dying of hunger. People, because of the transport lockdown, unable to get to health facilities. This has affected mothers, pregnant mothers especially. The impact economically has been huge, especially for the very small micro businesses. They're not able to operate. Let me share with you a verse from the Bible. This is from James chapter 1, verse 27. What God the Father considers to be pure and genuine religion is this: to take care of orphans and widows in their suffering, and to keep oneself from being corrupted by the world. This is practical mission. Caring for the poor and needy, sharing God's love with them, but also helping people to be Christian disciples following Jesus 24/7. This is the work that our main partner in Africa, CMS Africa, are involved in, teaching and training Christians to live their lives as Christian disciples, as followers of Jesus all the time. This is set against the context of Africa that we often hear about: poverty, mismanagement of resources, corruption, floods, droughts, locusts, conflict, civil war. So CMS Africa is trying to help people overcome the difficulties those challenges cause through their training programs. But at this time of coronavirus pandemic, they're unable to do that. So they've moved to the second part of the mission, caring for the poor and needy, the widows and orphans. I'd like you to listen to my colleague, Korobia Njogu from CMS Africa, sharing what CMS Africa are doing at the moment. And after you've heard from him, do pray.
My name is Korobia Njogu, responsible for People in Mission and Cross-Cultural Mission at CMS Africa. We're giving thanks to God for the lives that have been touched and households that have been blessed through our relational relief initiative in this era of COVID-19. Through a partnership with local churches, pastors working together, and support we got from brethren in Kenya, in the US, in Hong Kong, in Papua New Guinea, and in the UK, we provided food aid where we would buy food packs, each costing $25, 20 pounds, or 2,000 Kenya shillings, 2,500 Kenya shillings. And this food pack, families have testified, will provide food for anything between 3.5 to 6 weeks. They have thanked God for just the way He has come in a timely fashion to provide food for them. The pastors have identified people who need the food, who are not people who only don't come to church, but even people of other religions like Muslims. And we've encouraged them to find hope in Jesus, even as their needs for daily food are being met.
Across Africa, a number of our people in mission work with vulnerable women and children. In these strange times, a number of our projects have had to adapt to cope with the crisis created by COVID-19 and its restrictions. For example, in Tanzania, our mission partners Ben and Katie Ray have been working with Namer Crafts, an organisation that trains people with disabilities to make handicrafts. Before COVID-19, they were making things like bunting, cushions and pencil cases, but have now switched to making PPE for local hospitals and clinics. There is a similar story in northern Tanzania, where another mission partner, Heather Johnson, works with the Rehema project, which benefits women and children in crisis. From her lockdown location in South Africa, she temporarily closed the project in March, sending each woman home with a sewing machine, 2 months' wages, and a food parcel. However, since the end of April, she has been working remotely with the women, enabling them to make and sell face coverings from their homes. In addition, the Rehema project has begun to deliver food parcels to those people in the local community who are most in need. The number of cases of COVID-19 continues to rise across Africa, but even so, countries are having to ease a number of restrictions to enable their people to access employment, food and medical care. Because of this, our mission partners, Nurse Heather Sharland and Dr. Tom Clare, have begun to get out to the rural clinics to assess the situation on the ground. They have reported extreme cases of malnutrition in children and been able to see firsthand the impact on women who have been unable to access ante and postnatal care. The situation is repeated across Africa and made worse by unusual weather patterns of floods or drought, locust infestations and conflict. Please pray for Heather and Tom as they work out how best to respond. There's also much to be thankful for. In Malawi, Stephen and Melita Gordon have managed to obtain an oxygenator for the main hospital in Blantyre. This is a standard piece of equipment in most UK hospitals, but the first in Malawi. It aptly arrived on Pentecost Sunday and began to produce oxygen last week. Please join us in praise and thanks for the provision of this vital piece of equipment. Please continue to lift up both our People in Mission and CMS Africa as they work out ways to safely carry out, continue or adapt their ministries in the light of COVID-19. Thank you.